really big news for Northern California if you are a retro gaming fan.
Yep, June 21st, June 22nd, Fire and Ice RGX, NorCal's biggest game show coming.
The biggest game expo we've always wanted. Give us a little bit of kind of detail insight on exactly what RGX is, why it exists, how it exists, and what your vision is for it.
As you know, we all love these expos. They're our favorite time of the year when they come. We've been going to the SAC Gamers Expo for a few years now, and the community and like I don't know, the vibe that we've created over there has been special. So we want to put that on steroids. I go to Portland, I go to Phoenix, I go to SoCal, I go to all these shows, and they have just a special showing for people. And I don't know, it's just I thought, why the hell we don't have one in Sacramento yet?
Why don't we have
the
one
capital
in Sacramento
of the
yet?
Golden State, man? So
I mean, what led to this? I mean, it's a big jump.
Starting my store, Fire Nice Games, we do little shows in there, and we have such a good like reception to it, and like it's almost having like a SAC Gamers Expo every 3 months almost there, because we get 1,500 to 2,000 people in there. People are loving it, they're vibing. So we just wanted to put it on a bigger scale and get more people. Like when I go to SoCal and stuff like that, like it's something so special about it, and I wanted to have that feeling up here.
Yeah. Bringing an expo like this to Northern California is, I just think that I'm really excited about it. I don't know. Let's talk details. Okay. Like, what days are we talking? How many days?
Yeah, it's going to be a weekend event, a Saturday and Sunday, June 21st and June 22nd. We're going to have like a live concert, like live music going on. Obviously, your celebrity, your popular YouTubers that bring so much value to this community. You know, all the vendors, the artists. I don't know. It's going to be just an exciting event.
So like something like an artist alley?
Yeah, well, we definitely bring it in an artist alley.
To be very clear, also lots of vendors.
Yes.
So you want to come get your retro fix. You're looking for Sweet Home for the Famicom. Probably a good chance you're going to find it at a place like RGX.
Yep.
Because vendor tables, like what are you looking at as, just to give a scope?
Yeah.
What are we looking at here? Like
the hope
size?
is to get 200 plus vendor tables. So that is the hope, of course. It's going to be equivalent to a size of like I think in Arizona or a SoCal.
If you're familiar with the Northern California area, it's going to be at...
Yeah, the Roseville Center in Roseville. Not too far from Fire Nice Games, so it might be a good time to check out the store afterwards as well.
So we're not talking, like kind of quaint little... This is very large for our area.
Yeah, this is our first year doing it, so it's going to be a first year expo. We're going to come out, we're going to do obviously the best we can do and try to make it special, but it's only going to grow from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. This is year number one.
Year number one.
Yeah, and just remember this, in 10 years... when we're doing the 10th anniversary.
Yes.
We're all on our walkers and canes and everything.
We're getting there.
I'm getting there.
The receding hairline will be a little farther back.
So 21st and 22nd at the grounds, Roseville Center in Roseville. Tickets.
Yeah. Tickets
are on sale now?
Tickets went on sale as of the 7th, so they're available now. So go ahead and go get your tickets. Go get your VIP tickets. And yeah, that's what's going to help build this thing for us. So.
What exactly what entails a VIP pass?
Yeah, we're making special edition badges for it, so they're gonna be like collectible type stuff. But not only that, if you get a VIP ticket, you can get 15% off of Fire Nice Games that weekend for your purchase. So if you want to come in and drop $1,000, you're gonna save $150, which pays for your ticket and some. So yeah, there's a nice little bounce back for you guys. So the VIP is the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're coming in from out of town, which I know a lot of you might be coming in. It's a great time to see the expo during the day, and then after the expo, hit Fire and Ice at night. You have a VIP badge.
100%.
You get a discount.
You come afterwards, spend that money, and it pays for your tickets, your food.
You said live music?
Yep.
What any idea what day that's going to happen, or like what?
I know for sure Saturday. I think it might be both days.
Is it on the grounds?
Yeah, it's on the ground. It's like a big open stage that's not in the middle of it, but kind of where all the food trucks are. So you'll be able to hear it all over the grounds.
Mm-hmm. I heard you say food trucks.
Yeah,
we have food trucks there also.
Yeah,
this is the kind of thing you're going to want to come spend like both days all day
100%
at this thing, because with the amount of tables, the amount of guests, how large it's going to be, and the things that are happening, you're probably going to need a couple of days to see everything.
Yep.
And trust me, with some of the vendors who are going to be vending there, you're going to need to take time to be able to discover everything that's there.
Yeah.
A lot of gems. Plus, if you're a VIP, you get in a little bit early.
Yeah, you get in 30 minutes early both days. You get that special edition badge, and you get that bounce back for 15% off.
I mean, that 30 minutes early can like be the difference between getting yourself a Pole Mario, maybe.
100%.
Just saying. The overall temperature or like the vibe of the retro community has really changed quite a bit over the last few years. And I want to give you a lot of credit for that.
I appreciate that.
Because it's more of a connected, very friendly community than it ever has been. We owe a lot of that credit to what you've done with Fire and Ice. It's crazy. So like let's talk perspective real quick. Yeah. You've spent like most of your adult life going to expos, collecting, doing all this stuff. What is it like now being on the other side so far of that?
Yeah, it's crazy. It hasn't really kicked in, honestly. Yeah. I'm so immersed in building my brand already that we're doing and building these extra stores and stuff like that it's more of these talks that let me remember what we're doing and that kind of stuff. But it's exciting. Like I'm not going in there with any kind of crazy expectations. I'm going in there trying to start something special and build onto it. There's so many great shows around the country that I just want to be one of those shows that people, like to attend and have fun. You know how big our store is, the clientele we have, and everyone's so excited for this that it's just everyone who's a customer of mine is going to be guaranteed a customer over at RGX.
And guests.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk a little bit about guests?
We can.
There's been a few that have been announced so far.
Yeah. Number one in my book is Tofer.A right here. You know what I'm saying? My boy.
I'm going to be there?
You know you're going to be there.
I'm going to be there. I am going to be there. You guys should definitely come.
Metal Jesus will be there, which is awesome. But obviously a lot of the big celebrities, a couple of people from Silent Hill. And,
I've already seen some Silent Hill announcements. Yeah. I've seen some Sonic announcements.
There's quite a few more.
Yeah.
We'll make.
I don't want to ruin any of the announcements.
Next Tuesday, if we get that other person, we could do announcements that's just guests.
Yeah.
And everything they've been in. I'm super excited about the Twisted Metal dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The guests are being slow dripped. They're being announced twice a week.
Yeah. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we're announcing it.
It's gonna be a packed house.
Yes.
Of guests. Not only that, but we're also talking panels too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not announced yet, so we don't want to spoil anything, but. Panels both days?
Yep.
Potentially, yeah.
Definitely will have to be both days, Saturday and Sunday.
I think I'm sitting on a panel.
100%.
You're sitting on the panel with me?
I better be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know it.
Yeah. But what about TOFERCON?
Yeah, so second community meetup.
Yep.
For everyone, which I'm super excited about. The first one in December, which was at SAC Gamers, was fantastic. A lot of you guys came from like all over the place. Flying in from other parts of the country, driving in from other parts of the state. We're gonna do it again.
Yep.
TOFERCON 2. I will have I'm gonna have shirts made.
Let's go.
Gonna have shirts made for people who are gonna come and posters as well. And I think it'd be the perfect place for. I just think it's perfect to have a winter and summer meetup.
Yeah.
And what better place? Than the biggest gaming expo that we've ever had here.
I love it.
So like it's an honor for me to be able to host a community meetup there. So I'll be there shooting a bunch of video. Hanging out with everybody. You should come up and challenge my wife to a game of Tetris.
Yeah.
She would love that. How does one open the best game store in the country? Like, how does that happen?
We're trying to just try to be the best store we could be. Like to me, we know this is a group effort with retro. Like we always talk about keeping retro alive. Mm-hmm. Me and Tofer's always talking about that and how we could do our part in that. And I just wanted to create something super special. I come from a lot of traumas, and video games was my escape from those traumas. So video games have they're very special to me. And the weird thing is I don't get to play them these days, but I get to help build other people collections, and they get to play them, and they get to escape their everyday traumas or things because we're all going through something. I don't care who you are. We're all going through something, and video games is kind of like that escape. So I wanted to build something that I get to build there's no politics at my store. I get to build the culture. So when you walk into my store, it doesn't feel like retail. It's an experience, like people say. It always feels like a special experience, and that's what we want, man. There's a lot of places customer service don't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's tougher to see. You see it like Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Disneyland, and stuff like that. You don't see it. So everyone I hire are people who are super passionate about doing this stuff.
How old is store one? 3-4 years old?
3.5.
3.5 years
Almost,
old?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back 4 years.
Yeah.
Was this something that you always wanted to do? You just knew that you've been a collector.
Yeah.
You think my collection's crazy. This dude's got a collection that completely overshadows everything that I have.
Your collection is very special.
So at one point, was it I need to open a store? Was it other people around you were like, why don't you? Because people my whole life, my mom especially, have always been like, you should open a store with all this stuff. And I'm like, but you're assuming I want to sell my stuff.
That's
I can't let my stuff go.
That's the hard part.
It is difficult.
The hoarding is real.
I mean, was it people around you that were like, oh, you should start a store? Or
how it started is honestly from expos.
Yeah.
So like I started like 10 years ago, and my goal was just to collect every NES game. And at the time, like Lil Samson was like $500. I'm like, all right, I'm never buying that. I would never spend $500 on a video game. Now I spent like some crazy amount of numbers on it. So after like 3 to 4 years of collecting, I noticed my games had a good value to them. I was working at a restaurant, working 50, 60 hours a week with very little appreciation. I was paid well, but I was spending my whole life there basically.
Yeah.
So I told my wife when she went on a vacation, I want to sell some of these games and possibly have a new career. So I sold, my collection was worth about $60,000 at the time. I made about $42,000 in it. I had deals like way before I had a store where I'll trade $3,000 worth of Mario games to somebody on the East Coast, and they would give me the crazy $500,000 games, and I would just build all these bigger games.
So you were selling at expos?
I was selling at expos,
okay.
Yes.
Had like booths, tables.
Correct.
That sort of thing.
Correct. And that's why they hold a special place in my heart, and that's why I hold shows in my own shop, because I was a vendor. I am those guys. My communication, my networking, my grinding, my hustle, on top of that with that kind of stuff, kind of created what we have today.
And I would like to point out, he did say hosting shows in the shop. That's how big the shop is.
Yeah.
We're not talking about like a GameStop size shop.
Yeah, we can get 30 to 40 tables in there for a show. So, and we get good traffic in there. You've been in there.
Yeah, I mean, I've made lots of videos at the game swaps. If you haven't seen those, link right here. You can check those out. But yeah, so you started at expos. You started selling at expos, and that led to eventually like being like, maybe I should open a store.
Yeah, the expos was like kind of my side hustle once I started working with this in education in the school. I had weekends off, I had nights off, so I could just grind that side hustle like no other.
Yeah.
And then my wife one day, she came up to me and she's like, "Hey, baby, you kind of proven yourself. Why don't you go follow your dreams?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And before I could always be like, yo, I have a good career right now. My wife don't want me to do this, even though we don't control each other like that. But it was always like it's okay. I'm doing fine. And my side hustle's working. And she put the ball in my court. And I was like, oh crap. Like if I don't follow my dream now, it's all 100% on me. And so I really had to think hard about it. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I want a vision like no other. I went up and down the West Coast, and I was going to game stores that I think was succeeding and stuff like that. And I was trying to find like what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be like nobody else, but I wanted to see like what the successful stores were doing. And what I came down to is something I already have in me, and it's the passion. Yeah. I feel like the good ones had a lot of passion. They wanted to be there. It wasn't like work. It wasn't like them. You know what I'm saying? It didn't feel like a job. It's because it wasn't about the dollar. It was more about the experience, like I was saying. And our first year, I more than doubled my expectations of my first store, and I took a big chance. There was a store open in the same complex, and I didn't have to break a lease. I was able to transfer my lease and went from 1,600 to 7,100 square feet, or 1,900 to 7,100 square feet, which is an insane size. And it's not like a warehouse or like these places where you can get these big sizes for like cheap. This is in the middle of a busy complex.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking store. Like Rockland.
Yeah.
Like
I have an incredible leadership team behind me too, and I'm so proud of. So they're making it easier. But when you're your own business, man, you don't sleep normal. You know, your mind's always racing. Like, what can we do better? What's going wrong? Like, is everybody happy? Like, when you care about people, my brain don't turn off. So we just opened our second store, as you cut the ribbon to. Yeah. You seen the turnout, man. It was wild. That was passion, that was love, that was community.
You guys showed up at that store. It just like
over 500 people waiting in line.
With the store, I think it's important for people to kind of understand or to acknowledge that we're not talking about a new game store. We're not talking about a GameStop that sells, PS5 Pros, and I mean maybe you get one or two, but we're talking solely about a retro experience.
Yes, sir.
And to be able to do that on the level that you have, how long were you in the first location?
A year. I knew I was moving after 8 months, but I was in there about a year.
You were in there about a year, and that store was, again, size-wise?
1,900 square feet.
1,900 square feet, and that's where we met the first time. I came into the store based on a friend told me to come, like, check it out.
It was a huge risk, man. So many, like, professional and, like, big people that I respect were like, Ryan, you might be committing business suicide. Like, what are you doing? Like, this ain't the time to be doing this. COVID's just ending. Like, it's already hard enough on us or hard enough on, like, mom and pop shops that they thought I was crazy. And you kind of hear some of that, and it starts to trickle in. And I'm like, all right, I'll just work harder. Like, if you think it's crazy. Like, I don't think it's crazy. I think I can make this happen. And it's been nothing but a success. We keep doubling year after year almost, basically. And it's like you said, it's not your normal retro store. Like, there's combined stores over $1.5 million in quality product. Not like your $5, $6 games.
Right. It's not a flea market booth.
Yeah.
And it also it should be noted that it's not just retro games too. You have cards.
Yeah, we're a huge TCG shop.
You also hold a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
You are
WP and Premium, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We just had our pre-release, and our Friday night numbers were 96 players for one pre-release event. So we just
and this is Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, we demolished our record this last pre-release. We did I think around 225 to 230 participants total.
Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
Pokemon,
Lorcana, and Star Wars are 4 big ones.
Yeah, and Star Wars.
That we do tournaments. Yeah.
Yeah, and you sell all those cards as well.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
And not just like a box. We're talking about full-on display cases of singles, of slabs, and of new product as well.
And we have a crazy inventory. So the reason why we're able to have this kind of inventory as well is we could sell this stuff online anytime. Like I could sell half my store in 3 weeks if I wanted to do, and put it all online. But to me, I was tired of driving 30, 40 minutes away to a retro shop. And when I go there and I'm looking for certain things, they're like, oh, you got to go to our online shop. You got to go to their online shop. And I'll just buy something just to buy it because I drove out there. So when I was envisioning my store, I wanted to have a store that someone comes in and they see 30, 40, 50 titles that they wish they had, that wants to keep them to come back, want to trade stuff in, want to support the shop.
Yeah.
And so I've been very against putting my stuff online. And now that I didn't put my stuff online, I was able to take a chunk out of this store and start our second store. And our second store is already outperforming anything I thought it would do.
I will say part of the experience of going to Fire and Ice is the going part. It is going to Fire and Ice and experiencing the shop, because it's an experience.
100%.
And not to say that there's anything wrong with online sales. I think that online sales are great. There's a lot of places that do gangbusters in online sales. Your whole model revolves around this experience of a retail store.
It's community. So we're always talking about community. Like you seen it, like I said, you guys cutting the ribbon and seeing that community. Like I want the people in my store. I want them talking to my employees who are just so passionate about that. That's where the core memories are, not clicking on a computer to buy something. And I think it's smart to go online.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do that yet, but now that we have multiple stores, once we have like 3 copies in each store, any extra things can go online. So we are going to be working on the website. Yeah. So online is coming, but the majority of the stuff is going to be still the experience thing.
Yeah.
But now if someone calls me and like, hey, do you have this? I could throw it on the site. They could buy it and we could still do it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, that makes sense?
Yeah, definitely.
And we're doing crazy things in the community, man. Like I just did the first ever, this historical, we just did a video game tournament in Folsom Prison in the Greystone Chapel, like going through the main yard to the chapel.
Folsom Prison. We're talking like Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison.
Cash for 64 inmates. And it was the most emotional day of my life. It was so special, man. People were like, what about your wedding? What about this? When I say most emotional, like a wedding, that's pure joy. That's pure happiness. When I say emotional, there was joy, there was happiness, there was sadness, sorrow, pain. All the feelings were there. Like, because I believe in rehabilitation and stuff like that. And I'm no man to judge. To me, that's up to God to judge if you're a religious man. I just want to go in there and add a little bit of value for the staff and the people who are trying to, change their lives and stuff like that. And like when this video comes out, we have a little documentary video type coming out. You're going to see, it's going to look like kids just enjoying life. Like you wouldn't expect that inside this. So it was such a very special day to me. And to me, that's still part of the community.
So with all of this stuff going on, you got to ask the golden question. This is a question that I get asked a lot in the live streams and stuff. Is there time for Ryan to play games?
No. I do not get to play games.
Is there a game that if it launched tomorrow, you would make time for?
A new Diablo.
I knew that was coming.
Well, you did make time. Elden Ring.
You did make time for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
You played
2 weeks or something.
You were able to like jam through and Elden Ring.
Yeah, played that when it came out. Beat that in the first week. Didn't get to play the expansion because I know if I get stuck on a game, like I have an addictive personality. Like I just want to keep doing that.
Yeah, much like me. Not a whole lot of time. To play games. I mean, that's the whole reason I started live streaming to begin with. Was to make time for games.
Yeah.
And then the live streams sort of started becoming like.
Yeah. It sounds kind of corny, but I tell everyone, my game is real life. Like have my own real life RPGs. I'm trying to level up my characters, which are my employees and stuff like that. I'm putting gil in my pocket. I'm building my empire and stuff like that. So it's like a real life RPG, and that's honestly just seeing other people happy and
planting your turnips every Sunday and selling them.
Yeah. That's fulfilling to me. So that's it's kind of my real life game.
That's me with video work.
Yeah.
You know, like I could sit down and, you know, I don't know, level up a little bit in the Final Fantasy VII remake or something like that, or I could make 4 videos.
Yep. And that's why you are where you are today.
It's more fulfilling for me to, I mean, I would love to get game time, but, you know. So now that we know a little bit about you and the store, it's a couple questions I got to ask.
Okay.
Because people want to know. What's the craziest thing in your collection? And not necessarily monetarily, value-wise, but just the thing that you look at and go, how did I ever come into possession of this thing?
Yeah.
And then second, what's the one thing that's not in your possession that you want in your collection?
I would say my favorite thing in my collection, and it is quite pricey. I've got a couple things the last year that I've never thought I'd own. Like when I said I'd never thought I'd spend $500 on a game.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, really?
And once again, I come from no money. I don't have a lot of money in the bank. I just reinvest in assets and into my business. But it would have to be that video I put out for the stadium events.
And if you want to see that video is linked right here. You should watch that next.
It's a very special video. It talks a little bit about me, like coming from foster care and coming from nothing, and the gentleman who used to work at Nintendo whenever it was 30 years ago, whenever it was when these powers were coming in to be destroyed, and he was putting them in the compactor or whatever and watch them get destroyed. And he asked his boss, like, yo, can I have a couple of these? And him getting some of those. So you gotta, I don't know, the story's deep. You watched it.
If you're unfamiliar with the story of stadium events, it is a wild story that you really, if you don't know it, you really should get to know it. Watch Ryan's video here on it, because it goes through the whole it goes through the whole history of stadium events and how you obtained one of the very few copies.
Yeah, it's such a special story because they're not even supposed to exist, and all the stuff that happened, them buying the rights from Bandai and all that kind of stuff. To personally own it, like, it's my moment. Even though I have something that costs more, that's my favorite piece by far.
You go to all these expos.
Yeah,
you travel to these expos. You see a lot of things. What's the one thing that, like, if you saw it, it would be like you, like almost to the point where it's like, cost does not matter with this. This is the one thing that I need. Is there anything out there
that's still super tough? I'm lucky to own a lot of the stuff that I've really wanted. You know what it probably is? Because I can't get guys the budget and sell it to me. It's probably a high grade aerial fighters for Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Like if that came up in a high grade, I would sell some stuff to get it for sure. Yeah. So I know a couple people that have a copy. Every single year, there was 4 games I've been chasing. Every single year, I call these people, all 4 of them, if they're ready to sell, and if they ever are ready to sell, I tell them to contact me. And one of them came for sale 2 months ago, and I got it, and I haven't announced it yet, but it's a monster piece. So one of these Tuesdays when I come over, maybe I'll throw it down here first and show
that would be cool.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do a video on it.
Yeah.
And then what's Ryan's console of choice?
Super Nintendo all day.
Super Nintendo
all day.
We're talking library, like everything.
Super Nintendo.
It's not just like one game. It's like, I love that one game, and it just happens to be on Super Nintendo.
The best replay value, man. Like, to me, the best replay value. I love Nintendo. That Nintendo was my first love.
Yep.
But Super Nintendo just put Nintendo on steroids.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's where they hit their stride, right?
Yeah.
That was
the fighting games, the sports games, the RPGs, all that kind of stuff. The more story, that all started with there. And obviously, PlayStation and Dreamcast did such a good job at like enhancing that.
Yeah.
But going back, like, it's hard to go back and play 64. I know 64 is amazing. I like it too. But some games are a little tougher.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very polygonal. It was that like awkward teenage phase.
Yeah.
And also controlling, you have this timeline of controllers.
Yeah.
D-pad, 2 buttons. D-pad, 4 buttons, 2 shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 controller. It like goes off onto this awkward timeline here, and then it recorrects itself.
Yeah.
You know, sort of with the GameCube.
Yeah.
And then it totally corrected itself. It's hard to go back to an N64 game because of the controller.
Yeah. First-person shooters were different.
Yeah. It's very difficult for somebody who didn't grow up with an N64.
Yeah.
My kids didn't grow up with an obviously didn't grow up with an N64. So they look at it and they're like, how the hell am I supposed to hold it?
Yeah.
There's 3 peaks? Like, I don't have 3 hands.
Yeah.
Do I go here and here? Do I go here and here? And
yeah.
like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of the harder consoles to come back to. I think the SNES is probably the right choice. Yeah.
It's so good, man. It's so good.
Hit the comments and let us know what your one console is. So there you go. That is RGX.
Yes, sir.
The biggest gaming expo that Northern California has seen.
Yep.
And I think that this is only the beginning. I'm really excited about it. You guys have been gracious enough to let me host my second community meetup there also.
So excited.
So it's going to be super cool. It's going to be a gathering of the minds. Going to be a lot of great vendors there. June 21st and 22nd.
Yep.
Tickets are on sale now.
Yep.
And you can get those tickets right here at this web address. There's also a link in the description below.
Yep.
Again, if you haven't seen the game that Ryan was talking about, Stadium Events, and how he got it, you should definitely check out that video. I have that video linked right here. And, if you want to keep up to date with all of the happenings, we're going to be doing stuff like this on a weekly basis.
Yes, sir.
You should subscribe to the channel here, hit that little bell icon, and also subscribe to Fire and Ice. After you watch that video, make sure you subscribe to Fire and Ice because there's more stuff in the Folsom Prison thing coming.
And don't forget VIP tickets. You get an early both days. You get 15% off Fire and Ice games for after the show you come by, which could pay for the whole show ticket. And music, great vendors, great YouTubers, great great guests. It's gonna be special.
It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait. And until next week, enjoy the journey.